Microsoft just made Cowork generally available today. What you might not know is that they have shifted to a consumption model. This means that you pay each time you use Cowork inside of M365 Copilot. The more you use it, the more you pay for it. So, how do you know when to use Cowork and when to use M365 Copilot? Don't worry. In this video, I'm going to explain everything you need to know about when you should use M365 Copilot and when you should use Cowork. And we're going to get into a demo so that it's all super clear. That way, when you use Cowork, you'll know exactly when to use it so you're using it most effectively. The high level rule of thumb you'll want to remember is that when you need to think through things, use Copilot. Whereas when you want to execute tasks, use Cowork. In this demo, I'll show you both of them working side by side to help me prepare for a meeting tomorrow morning with a company called Contoso. You'll see how M365 Copilot is great for thinking through the things that need to be done to prepare for the meeting, and how Cowork can actually execute those tasks. So you'll get a great side by side comparison to help understand when to use both. But if you remember nothing else from the video today, remember, Copilot helps you think, and Cowork helps you execute tasks. All right, let's get started preparing for our meeting tomorrow in M365 Copilot. So, I am here in my general Copilot chat interface. I've got Work IQ turned on, and I've put in a prompt to say, summarize everything I need to know about Contoso for my meeting tomorrow. So let's put the prompt in and let's see what we get back. Now, while Copilot is looking through this, it is searching through all of my Teams chats, my calendar, my emails, my documents. It's using all of that through Work IQ as its grounding to provide this answer for me that I've requested, which is really powerful. That's one of the key selling points of M365 Copilot, is that it has this grounding in my work data. Used to be called the Graph API. Today we call it Work IQ. All right, so Copilot has gone away. It's looked through all of my business data in Work IQ, and it has some details for me about tomorrow's meeting: the topic, the time, the purpose, who's important, what tone to take, an executive summary. It's come up with a lot of detail for me. So this is really, really helpful. Stuff that I used to have to do manually, this has all been pulled together for me very quickly ahead of the meeting. Now, if I want to put this together into a briefing document and then send that out to my team, this is going to be a manual effort. So let's say, so it said, can I turn this into a one-page meeting brief? Let's actually ask it to turn this into a slide deck. So let's say, turn this into a slide deck for me to distribute to my team internally. Okay, so Copilot's done its thing, and it's given me an outline of slides that we could have in our slide deck. Now, that's kind of what I wanted, but not exactly what I wanted. I still got to go manually do this in PowerPoint. Let's say add these slides to a PowerPoint presentation. Okay, it's done its thing. It's created a PowerPoint presentation for us. Let's go ahead and open this up in PowerPoint and take a look. So it's added the briefing materials to a slide deck for us. Very, very cool. Format's not the worst I've ever seen. Awesome. So now let's ask it to distribute this to the team. So let's say, send this to me in an email. Okay, so it's drafted the email, and let's say it's asked, yes, send via Outlook. Okay, so it's drafted it in Outlook. Let's go ahead and send it, and done. So in the demo, we saw M365 Copilot acting as my thinking partner. It was able to take my prompts, use Work IQ to search through my data, emails and meetings and Teams chats and documents and things like that to help me prepare for my meeting with Contoso. But I was still heavily involved in the process. I had to direct it each step of the way. Great, thanks for that summary. Now turn it into a slide deck. Now turn those slides into PowerPoint. Now send an email to my team. I'm still involved every step of the way. Let's now get into a demo of Cowork and see how we can delegate these tasks entirely to Cowork to get this entire process done. All right, we're now ready to work with Cowork to help us do the same thing and prepare for the meeting. And so I've put a prompt here into Cowork. Now you need to be in Frontier Firm and use the Cowork agent, add that to your M365 Copilot. And what I've said is summarize everything I need to know about Contoso for my meeting tomorrow. Provide your output in a PowerPoint slide deck using your Nathan Advisory Deck skill. This is a skill that I've previously created to format slides using my branding. So if you remember with M365 Copilot, it just gave us a random format. But using this skill that Cowork can access, I can create slides using my personal branding. So it looks the way I want it to. So format it using my branding. Once you've created the slide deck, distribute it to me via an email in Outlook, and then send me a Teams chat to let me know that you've finished. So let's go ahead and let this run. Now, this will take a bit of time, so we'll pause the recording and come back to it when it's completed its work. All right. I now need to go ahead and send this email. So Cowork has gone through, it has looked at everything it needs, I've asked it to do. So it has searched through my calendar, it's searched through my emails, it's searched through all of this Work IQ data. It started building the slide deck and using that skill. Now let's take a quick look at this slide deck that it has created. Now look at that. It is using my branding, which is very, very cool. So it has added all of these details that it's determined are important to this deck. Now there's a few gaps. So things like section placeholders. This is something that I didn't give it in the original deck that I uploaded for creating the skill. So there's a few gaps that I need to fill in, but you can see that it has formatted this the way I want it with all of the data that I want. So it's now ready to, let's get back here. It's now ready to send this email. Now it's asking me to do this because with responsible AI, we do want a human in the loop. So I do want to review this before we just automatically send it, but it's drafted everything. It is ready to go. It's attached the file. So let's go ahead and send this. One more thing. You can see here on the right-hand side the plan. So it's done its research, it's built the branded slide deck. We're now up to sending the email and the Teams message. So let's go ahead and send that. It's going to send this email to me via Outlook. So it's doing that now. Now it is sending a Teams message. So I've just received the email. Here we go. There it is, attached document. And let's come back here. It's in the process of sending a Teams message. And it says that it's done that. So let's come over here to Teams. And it looks like, yes, it has gone ahead and sent that to us in Teams. So very, very cool. That's been sent by Cowork to us. So what we've seen is Cowork being able to take my prompt saying, go research this meeting, put together a slide deck, and then send me an email. And it's been able to go ahead and plan and do that. Now, we've been able to use things like skills to give it additional capabilities that we didn't have in M365 Copilot. In this case, being able to use the branding and style guide that I prefer for my slide decks, which is something that we couldn't do in M365 Copilot. So That starts to give you an idea of how we can delegate tasks to Cowork. Whereas with M365 Copilot, we are very much conversing with it and being in the loop. So they both have their uses, but this should hopefully give you an idea of the differences between them. All right, let's wrap up with a few simple rules of thumb. Firstly, if what you need fits into a single prompt, that's when you want to use Copilot. Things for answers, quick drafts, summaries, stuff like that. However, if your request spans multiple apps, then you want to use Cowork. For example, in our demo, we saw my request spanning PowerPoint and Teams and Outlook and documents. That's really the domain of Cowork. If you need full control, that's Copilot. In our example, we saw M365 Copilot needing a lot of direction from me for each step of the process. However, if you want outcome, that's the domain of Cowork. I delegated the task to Cowork and I reviewed at specific checkpoints, such as sending an email. It needed me to approve that, but otherwise, it made a plan and did its thing. Finally, if it is help me, that's Copilot for assistance. If it is do this for me, that's Cowork for agent mode. All right, so that should give you an idea of the breakdown between M365 Copilot and Cowork now that Cowork is generally available. That's it from me. Go do something awesome on the Power Platform today, and I'll talk to you soon.